These two absolutely fantastic players who had a great 2013, regardless of what happens this weekend. Obviously, if there's one way to close out the year, but it's over here.
Oh man, BlizzCon Championship is what every one of these players are here for. No one came to finish second place. Spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Frost, the red Terran player leading 1-0. He is Bomber. And he's almost got a smirk on his face, Kev.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind winning game number 1 like that. It's just like, I'm not sure how this is going.
I would have a banana grin from ear to ear, and I would not be able to play game 2. His opponent up in the top right-hand corner, trailing 0-1, the blue Zerg player, Soulkey.
Well, we said it multiple times, man. If there's one person who knows how it feels to be behind in the series and then still come back and win, it has to be this guy. One of the very few players who was ever down 0-3 in the finals of a tournament and then came back and actually won it. Multiple times we saw people evening up the series 3-3 to then still end up losing it, but not Soulkey.
Very early scout from Soulkey. Sent out that drone at like 11 or 12 supply. Bomber right now is
aiming
just
for
sitting back. Looks like he might be going CC first.
Yep, aiming for the command center first, so very economic opening, and that's going to be nice for Bomber, certainly considering the fact that Soulkey is sacrificing a little bit of economy over here by sending out that drone so early. Perhaps still not too happy with how game number 1 unfolded, and he was so close, like he scouted everything around his base other than this tiny little corner, which somehow had enough space to hide a Rex in.
Yeah, that proxy really hurt him. Ultimately, like,
it just threw him
It wasn't the reason that he lost the game, but it definitely set the pace for Bomber as he goes up 1-0 in the series. Players are cross-spawn here on Frost. This is a pretty big map, and a lot of ways that it could unfold from these positions.
Certainly, because the moment you go up to 3 or even 4 bases, there are a lot of different ways to attack. This is actually going to be annoying for Bomber. He's going to be forced to pull at least 1 SCV, maybe 2, and there we go. He's going to pull 2 SCVs for now. Because there's such a wide open area around your 4th base, and against a player like Soulkey, like we mentioned before, but if there's one player who loves to just send small groups of links across the map and morph them into banelings and roll them into mineral lines, it has to be Soulkey.
This is a great map for it too. It's hard to always see everything.
It's impossible
on this map. I guess Terran might have the luxury of sensor towers very late in the game, but that's not something Bomber's going to want to be investing in early on, or even in the mid game.
Yep, and even then, you know, before you know it, a couple of links run by.
Yeah.
Not going to be easy. Anyway, Bomber is pulling off the CC first so far. Lost a little bit of minerals by pulling those SCVs, but no big deal as of yet.
Yep, so far, so good for Bomber.
No extractors going down yet for Soulkey, unless I'm mistaken, and we just completely missed it. So he's going to go up for a very economic opening, just rely on Queens early on, and as he knows, he's scouted the command center first.
Yeah.
He knows that he will be more than fine in doing so.
In scouting CC first, he might even get crazy and go for a 3rd hatch before he adds any of his tech. Right now, it's just all Queens and drones.
He has the money for it.
I'm kind of thinking we might see 2 more Queens, but we'll see.
Wow, Bomber going super economic there, man.
Is that a 3rd command
that
center?
Is a 3rd.
Holy smokes. CC first into 1 Rex, into a 3rd command center.
Into a factory as well with the reactor. Bomber is doing all of this off 2 Marines so far, and he's actually going to get away with it, considering the fact that Soulkey opened gasless. This is a very good opening here for Bomber.
And Bomber says, gee, I sure hope you're not all-inning me. And Soulkey says, well, hey, I'm just going to make 4 Queens off of 2 bases and try to keep up with you that way. It's going to be a mistake for Soulkey, man. This is a great opening for Bomber.
It's not really a mistake, as he can't really do much about it.
But it's certainly, he's
going to beat himself a couple of times. He's like, no, I should have gone with the temple bailing. That would have worked out so well for me this game. He does have an Overlord relatively close to that 3rd command center that's near the edge, and I think Soulkey is going to scout
he should see
his base in a matter of seconds, and now he's going to be like, ouch.
You know, what is that going to prompt from Soulkey, who just started mining gas? He does take a 3rd hatchery immediately. I'm not sure whether or not he was planning to do that anyway, or if it was in a reaction to that 3rd command center. But regardless, it's going to be a very long time before Soulkey's really able to do anything to try and punish this. And he's going to be a very fast layer.
Wow.
That's a cool choice. I think he's going to try to go for the quick mutas here. Something we've been seeing some Zerg players experiment off of 2 bases. Soulkey will have that 3rd hatch down, but his drone count's not that great, Kev. He's only on 41 harvesters right now.
Yeah, it's just a matter of time before that will truly explode though, but I do wonder if Bomber is going to be able to somehow identify this, and if we're going to see perhaps one set of extra Hellions that he can just literally run into that third base and try to pick off as many drones as possible, because with this style it's likely that Soulkey is going to try to play as greedy as possible, as he knows that Bomber is playing very greedy. He's going to squeeze out so many drones that he might barely have any links by the time he's already banking on producing Mutalisks.
I think that Roach Horn's all about. Double Evo, Roach Horn. I have a hard time believing that was for just defensive roaches.
Soulkey. Maybe.
Yeah.
He's actually going to research missile attacks as well, Ben, so no Miras yet. This is going to be quite interesting. Might see some good old Roach Hydra. Roach Speed being researched as well.
Wow, that's nuts. Why the fast layer doesn't make as much sense, but Roach Hydra's fine. I mean, it's certainly a very viable strategy. Hellions will make their way over towards the natural expansion. A few Roaches are on the way, and they should be out in time to keep these Hellions from doing any real damage.
That's a pretty fat queen over there.
Oh, man.
She parked her ass.
Way too much junk in the trunk.
8 Roaches in production. That's a lot of Roaches. That's way too many Roaches for just defensive purposes over here, Ben. 11 Speed Roaches on the way already for Soulkey. Soulkey is going to commit to this big time.
And now Soulkey's plan reveals itself. A 1-1 Roach timing. This can be a very effective strategy against an opponent who underprepares. And if we look at the production tab, well, there are Widow Mines on the way, Kevin. There are a couple of Marauders out already. So if Bomber starts to sense what's happening, I feel like he should be able to put a good defense together.
There is a single Marauder out at the moment, but he can just stay on 2 bases for a while. He should immediately abandon that third base as soon as he realizes what he's playing against, unless Bomber is somehow able to pull off a miracle. Losing that Overlord is going to suck a little bit, by the way, as Soulkey has quite a bit of money in the bank, and it's still going to take an additional 10-15 seconds for those new Overlords to hatch. Man, that's an expensive Overlord loss there.
Cost him a few Roaches for the fight that is unfolding. Worker transfer over into that third base is coming at a rough time, as the Roaches are going to be knocking at that door very soon. 14 drones on the way for Soulkey, so he's going heavy macro behind this. Roaches, oh man, this expansion is just in so much trouble. So many workers, it's 14 workers. Marauder is going to get doused in acid, but he does live to fight another day.
Oh, Widow Mines as well. Might actually shoot at the Roach. Oh, look at it. He knows.
Using the splash to take out workers.
So
every SCV falls. That's a pretty beautiful control there from Soulkey.
Oh my God, those are just the beautiful things in this game, man. That makes me so happy.
Overseer nearby will allow Soulkey to pick off those Widow Mines as well. So an excellent adaptation here from Soulkey, recognizing the opportunity. And look at the worker count now, 72 drones to 45 SCVs. The changeling underneath the command center. Hey, Marine, move.
Have a taste of your own medicine. Man, what a beautiful play by Soulkey. Small things.
He'll get roasted and his carcass crushed, as the Roaches will turn right back around. They want to make sure that this third base never really has a chance to do any work.
Fourth base going up as well, and a macro hatchery for Soulkey, so his economy is just going to be sick. He's still going to try to use these Roaches to their fullest potential, maybe pick off a few additional SCVs, force Bomber to be relatively defensive, even though Bomber already sent out a medevacs and he said, I'm going to try to make something happen. And that's definitely possible, as his army right now is way stronger than the army of Soulkey, but that Spire is halfway down. We have 24 links on the way, Bailing Nest is on the way as well. He needs Roaches in position, though, to deal with that drop. Absolutely.
The weakness of Roach styles is its immobility, and this drop is quickly making its way towards the natural expansion of Soulkey. But there's a Spore Crawler there. Lings underneath, and Queens offering some supplemental fire. These medevacs take a ton of damage, and it's, one of them's going to go down. Now the Roaches are here, too, and Bomber's attempt at evening the score is going to fall flat as this medevac evacuates a few men down. Second prong to the attack, making its way over to the third base.
The phase of the game where Terrans are so scary, though. More Marines being unloaded on the high ground. That's going to be annoying. Most of the Roaches are here, though, to push this drop away as well. Bomber wishes he had a few more bio units to work with, because then he can just keep this up non-stop until the Miras enter the fray. And we do have 9 Mutalisks on the way right now.
Kev, what a superb defense so far from Soulkey. He hasn't taken any real damage. And with the Mutas coming out, it's going to be even harder for Bomber to drop. It's kind of interesting seeing Soulkey transition from 1-1 Roaches back into Zergling, Baneling, Muta.
I love
that's exactly what we're seeing.
I love how this single changeling forced that entire orbital to relocate. Oh, actually, it's a Roach. Well, that changeling evolved.
Yeah. glial reconstitution, Kev. It turns your changelings into roaches. You thought they were cheap before.
Please not. Please no. There's a lot of Marines over here for Bomber though, so Soulkey is definitely going to have to be careful about how he wants to go at this. At the moment, he doesn't have too many banelings in the Zerglings. He has 12 links, 14 banelings, which is easily enough to defend with, but not really enough to attack with. He does have that superb economy of 85 drones.
And he's got a massive economy. He can afford to just start trading basically any time now. Once Soulkey maxes out, it's going to be non-stop aggression for the rest of the game. Mutas will show their faces for the first time here, making their way over into the main base. And what do they find? Just a few idle workers?
A couple of exposed SCVs. There's not a single missile turret up here in the main base, so a couple of Marines will fall. I love he's always bringing an Overseer as well. She'd rather be safe than sorry, but...
big reaction with the entire army of Bomber going back in response to these Mutas, and that's enough to get them to go home. Meanwhile, as Zerglings, Mutas, and Banelings on the production tab, +3 attack has begun for Bomber, Kev. One thing he's done exceptionally well this game is keep his upgrades moving. And 3-3 is not too far away.
It's actually pretty sick considering the fact that +2 melee just started for Soulkey. Freeze spray is going to be extremely important, and so far it's been done very well by Soulkey. He's almost covering the southern Zelnaga watchtower. This is the Soulkey that we know and love, man. A hit squad of roaches and a couple of banelings over here on the left side of the map are going to roll into this completely exposed third base.
So brutal, finds the opening. These workers are going to have a real hard time. Banelings making their way towards the Marines. The roaches can deal with the SCVs. And a nice little attack here from Soulkey. He's going to deal some serious damage to the economy. And here comes the reinforcements. Oh man, Soulkey's trying to pick a big fight.
And he does have to be careful because, as you pointed out, the upgrades are heavily in favor of Bomber, so maybe he wants to hang in there a little longer.
Bomber's army is actually huge. 152 Terran army supply. Soulkey's got to be so careful. He will counterattack into the natural, and that's going to force some of Bomber's units to come back. But again, Banelings finding an exposed mineral line. SCVs forced to be pulled, but I think a lot of them are going to end up dying.
Oh my god, that's so many Marines over here.
This is a massive Marine push moving across the map, Kevin. 86 Marines out of the map right now for Bomber. Soulkey has got to get perfect connections. He cannot afford to take a bad fight. All comes down to this, and initially Bomber's not microing at all. Here comes the splits, and he will trade a little bit better here with the next wave of the attack. Banelings continue to roll forward. Muta's overhead, but it's not going to matter. The Banelings melting away. Bomber started with 86 Marines, and 51 are still alive. Soulkey, how are you going to stop this push?
Oh, a couple of Banelings looking for those big connections, getting reasonable connections, but it's still not enough. Soulkey needs more than this, what he's getting. He is getting hyped though, but that's not going to matter for a while. He has over 50 links in production.
Bomber hit the ultimate timing. The Marines pushing forward into the natural now. And there are no Banelings. There's 3 Banelings out on the map. There are 20 morphing somewhere,
but
okay, they're in the natural.
The Marauders are going to soak up all these Banelings, though, at least the majority of them. Here come the Mutilas to help out. This is going to be so close. Soulkey needs a miracle to hang in there.
These Banelings have got to be heroes. Soulkey's natural's in a lot of trouble. Banelings rolling forward. Marauders want to take it. The Marines kiting backwards. A lot of Marines fall, but a lot are still left over. And with only 5 Mutas overhead, Soulkey might be dead.
Are you for real?
Oh my God, GG Bomber.
Wow.
He was dead. His economy had been ravaged. Soulkey was everywhere, and just like that, Bomber marches across the map with more than 80 Marines and ends the game.